Hey guys, this is Boone's Bibles, and today we got a AR-500 steel target review for you. These targets are from Grizzly targets. They're both 8-inch gongs, half-inch thick, AR-500. And this is a little quarter-inch AR-500 resetting pistol target. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to shoot this one today, but I think basing off of how the gongs did, I think it'd be just fine with pistols. I don't think there'd be any deformation or anything on it. There's a couple holes on the back for mounting it to a 2x4 or 4x4 or whatever you got going that you wanted to mount it to. But today we're here to talk about these two 8-inch gongs. Over here on the right we have a brand new one. This is how they come in packaging. It's just painted flat gray. The only difference between this one and this one is when I got this one, it actually had Grizzly painted on it. Of course, you can see we pretty much shot all of that off. These don't come with a lot of frills as far as packaging. It's pretty much the gong inside of a box, inside of another box with some packaging. And that's about it. And these two gongs, we shot them with 5.56, 7.62 by 39, and 7.62 by 51. Over here we got what we actually had for each one. The 5.56 by 45, we had Norma, I think it was 55 grain. Wolf Gold, which was 55 grain, and the important thing about this Wolf Gold is it says it's 223, but it's actually loaded to M193 specifications. We didn't actually get a chance to chrono the Wolf Gold or the ZQI. The ZQI we were using was the M855 SS109. It's a 62 grain with a little steel core in the tip of it. It's not a hardened steel core, it's just some mild steel. But when we were shooting all of these, they were out of a PWS Mark 118, so an 18-inch barrel. And when we fired the Norma, our 5-shot average was roughly around 3,100 feet per second. It's probably pretty similar for the Wolf Gold, and the ZQI was probably just a hair slower since it's a heavier bullet, but probably not that much slower. I'm sure it was well above 3,000 feet per second. The 7.62 by 39, we had Monarch, Red Army Standard, and Golden Tiger. They were all basically 123 grain. Interesting stuff about this, the Red Army Standard actually was the best shooter out of this. The Monarch and the Golden Tiger were both shooting about 2,200 feet per second, and every shot was off probably 100 and 150 feet per second. It was all over the place. The Red Army Standard, every shot was within pretty much 20 or 30 feet per second. And they were all shot out of a SAM 7R. We had a Vepr 58 full size and a VZ 58 full size rifle, and then a VZ 58 compact with a 7-inch barrel. And the 7-inch barrel was slinging these at about 18 and 1900 feet per second in some cases. Most of them were right around the 1800 feet per second. And then for the 7.62 NATO, we were shooting ZQI M80 ball, and it was 147 grain. The ZQI, the M80 ball, was chronoing right around 26 to 2700 feet per second, and we were shooting it with a Zastava M77 and a CZ550 FS, so a semi-auto and a bolt action. Now on this gong, you can see we got some pretty good pitting on it. I'm pretty sure some of these, like this spot right up here, you can probably see that better without the light. These larger divots, like right there, that one, maybe that one over here, and then a couple of these over here that are a little bit deeper and a little bit shinier. Those came from the M80 ball, the 7.62 NATO. Some of these smaller ones like all of these right around here, these were all the ZQI 62 grain. And the 62 grain was actually shooting kind of high. When we were shooting at this, we were actually putting the reticle on the scope closer to the bottom of this target rather than flat on. Whereas the 55 grain, if you had the reticle dead on center, you were going to hit it every single time. So the ZQI was actually shooting a little bit high. Like I said, these little divots are a little bit larger. These all came from the M855. And now over here you can kind of see some smaller ones, like that little divot. There's kind of a little guy up here and around here. That was all the Wolf 55 grain and then the 7.62 by 39. So overall, I think the target fared fairly well. 308 kind of did a number on it, and the M855 actually did a pretty good number on it too. But most places will also tell you when you buy an AR 500 target not to shoot it with M855 anyway. At least not within 100 yards. And some places don't even like them 193. After 100 yards, M193 starts to shed velocity pretty fast. So once you stick this out a little bit farther, you won't really have to worry about the wider loads too much. The heavier loads will carry a little bit more velocity over and have a little bit more of a punch. But overall, I don't think it really fared too bad. This target was set out at about 150 yards, maybe a little bit closer than that. And then on a side note, this is the top support bar of the target stand that we made a couple videos earlier, a couple weeks ago. And these are all 30 cal holes. We never actually hit this with 5.56. So these are all 30 cal holes, mostly 7.62 by 39, I believe. And the reason I say that is this hole over here, it went through here, but it actually stopped the bullet on the other side. And you see there's still some lead fragments from the core on the inside of here. And when I brought this in, the copper jacket was still stuck in there, but at some point it became dislodged and I'm not sure where it went to. So I'm pretty sure this is probably 7.62 by 39, because 7.62 by 51 should have poked right through this without too much problem. And I'm thinking maybe some of these where there's a little bit more spalling going on the inlet, I'm thinking those were probably the 7.62 by 51, since it was a good 400 feet per second faster. However, on this one I think is 7.62 by 39, you kind of see the spalling around the edge isn't quite as bad. And all of these over here did go completely through. Well, that's pretty much all I've got for you guys as far as these targets go. And if you make a target stand like I showed you in a couple videos ago, you rest assured that it's going to work fairly well for you. And we did figure out that old barbed wire, if you've got that laying around, actually does pretty well to hold on the target. And you see I put 2 little strands on each side, and for the most part we didn't have too many problems with it. So that's all I've got for you guys. So keep watching and have a good one.